Reawaken to your immortal identity and discover life between life's wisdom. Presented by the Michael Newton Institute.
Matt Omo is a pioneering figure in Australia's sound healing movement, renowned for his unique fusion of ancient wisdom and modern science to facilitate profound personal transformation. With over 2 decades of experience, Matt has guided thousands through his innovative process known as soul vibing, which integrates sound, breathwork, spiritual psychology, and meditation to access heightened states of awareness and creativity. Holding a master's in spiritual psychology, a diploma in sound healing, and certifications as a Reiki master, Kundalini Yoga teacher, and breathworker, Matt's diverse background enables him to bridge cultures and traditions from around the world. His work demystifies the healing power of sound, making it accessible and practical for modern lifestyles. Matt is the author of Love Your Vibe, Using the Power of Sound to Take Command of Your Life. It's a guide that empowers individuals to harness sound for personal growth and well-being. This approach has been featured in various workshops, retreats, and corporate settings across Australia, Europe, and the USA, impacting a global audience. Whether you're seeking to reduce stress or enhance creativity, or embark on a journey of self-discovery, Matt's grounded yet transformative methods offer a path to align with your authentic self and live in harmony with life's vibrations.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to our very special episode of Michael Newton Institute's Wisdom Series, the podcast that I just love to bring to all of you. And I have someone with me, and there's a little story attached, and I shall share that with you. But before I tell you the story, a very warm welcome to you, Matt. Thank you so much for your time and the fact that you're going to be sharing your vibrations and all that you're going to share with our viewers. So a very, very warm welcome to you to this session.
Oh, thank you so much. Thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. So, viewers, Matt is someone who does something and shares something and lives something, if I may say so, which is fascinating. It's evolving. And I think he will agree with me that no session, no journey is ever similar to another. Even if there are X number of people in the room, each person has a different journey that they experience while he's sharing what he does. And that brings me to my curiosity. Matt, I'd love to know your journey till here. I just want you to tell us, who are you, what do you do, and all of that.
So just jump right in the deep end, huh? Just how much time we got? Like 5 hours?
Time is it's completely relative. You're talking to a spiritual consciousness facilitator.
That's it. Why should I even mention time, huh?
Yeah.
How silly of me. No, so what I do, I mainly work with sound and breath these days, and it's kind of been the overarching thing through my journey is in a nutshell, let's see if I can just give you a kind of a overview of what's happened on my journey. A few bullet points here. So, I've always been curious in this realm of like spirituality and superhuman kind of supernatural kind of stuff, and like it was always a curiosity as a kid, but I never fathomed that I'd actually have a career in that realm. I come from a computer engineering background, so it's completely different than where I am now. But one of the pivotal moments for me was my mom died at when I was a young age. She was a young age too, for that matter. She was younger than I am now, actually. And so I was 23 at the time that she passed. And so, as you can imagine, it was a very challenging time for me, thinking that I knew everything, but I still needed my mom, you know? And so it was like I was just a boy, just a child. And anyway, she came to me in a vision. And so, in that vision, she opened my eyes to an experience beyond my five senses. And it was in that moment that the little boy in me found hope again and thought, oh, she's still here. Her consciousness hasn't gone anywhere. You know, she's left her body. And so then that kind of was like the doorway that opened for me. And because I had been exposed to personal development by my dad, he was into a lot of that stuff when I was younger. So I was pretty anxious, pretty sensitive, kind of struggled as a adolescent. So he would give me these cassette series and drop me into my room to do reports on, you know, Wayne Dyer, Chopra, Marianne Williamson, Carolyn Mason, like all these, you know, the greats. And so that was my first taste. And so when my mom passed and I had that experience, I kind of had a reference point, is what I'm saying.
Right.
And so from that, I then started my journey. It was basically 23. I was old enough, just finishing uni, and I could travel a bit. And I could get out amongst it, and I had the ability then to start to explore at a deeper level. And so I went everywhere looking for any kind of practice, any kind of experience, any, you know, whatever I could find to take me to that place where I knew my mom resided, right? And so through that journey, working with, you know, different cultures and traditions around the world, I started to understand that you have access to this higher consciousness, to this, you know, expanded consciousness where I feel my mom was residing after she left her body, through the breath and through sound. And that those two aspects are woven in pretty much any tradition and any culture that you start to look into. And out of that, then I started to develop what works for me, which is a process I call soul vibing, which is a process where we use sound and breath, and it takes you to a place where you ultimately resonate with the vibration of your soul. And that process was my gateway back to my mom and my gateway into my, you know, tribe of support, I guess you would say. And that then led to realizing that a lot of people are missing that connection to source, to their own spirit, to their guides, their support team, loved ones that have crossed, and so forth and so on. So you would understand all this, and so it became then kind of an opportunity for people to find solace in themselves and reconnect to the wholeness of themselves through this process that was something that worked for me, and it ultimately worked for then, well, hundreds of thousands of people now. So yeah, that in a nutshell is what I do, how I got there. And obviously there's tangents on that path of, we could talk for days.
You know, Matt, you shared something so beautiful because being a spiritual consciousness facilitator, being a life between lives hypnotherapist, we hold a very sacred space for any soul who is coming into that space to journey. And as you said, to connect with the divine, to connect with loved ones who've passed on, moved into other dimensions, and sometimes to connect to your own higher self, you know, that expanded, magnificent you, that special you. And while you were sharing your story, I remember this beautiful experience. Um, he's a healer who would combine yoga nidra with sound bath. And so when I attended one of the sessions, it was more like, oh, he's a colleague, he's a friend, and he was like, you know, would you like to? I'd love to experience it. Now, it was obviously not guided in the senses you are there in that room. He's created a very sensory experience because there's, you know, the lights have been kept very low. There's just some candlelight. There's aroma because initially he had sage burning, then he was burning probably frankincense. So there was that sensory message that's coming in from different senses. And then everybody was lying down, and just a few people who chose to sit and do this. But what was so wonderful was those beautiful gongs and bells and the bowls and the sound. And you start to feel the vibration in the body. And it is true, you actually just transcendent, you're moving into another realm. You're going into a space because no one is defining it. It became a very individual experience. And
That's nice.
interestingly,
That sounds amazing.
when I've done a few of his other sessions, every time it was a different experience.
That's right. Yeah. Well, it
It's
sounds very similar to what I do
So
then,
I'd
because
love you to tell us about sound vibing. And here's the story for everyone. When I met
right.
Matt online for the first time, it was very mystic because it took us a long human time space quantum for these two souls to be able to connect. And
That's right.
I'd kept it out there in the universe that it'll happen when it's meant to happen. And in that conversation, Matt said sound vibing, I hear sound diving. And I'm like, whoa, you're going to dive into sound. And I'm thinking of the ocean and I'm thinking of this vastness. But in a way, diving and vibing was creating a resonance. So let's have Matt tell us about sound vibing.
Yeah, well, I even even call it soul vibing, so I'm resonating
Ah,
with the vibration of the soul.
beautiful.
So, yeah, yeah, no, but it is using a lot of sound and like what you were just talking to,
Mm,
that's it's interesting because I've for a long time there was this idea of what it was supposed to look like and that I had to guide people, I had to use
mm,
words and the sounds would come out and move through me, but they don't have any type of um, structure to them. It's more just frequencies that are moving. And, my logical mind wanted something to grab onto. So I've tried to get words into it, tried to bring mantra in, tried to
mm,
bring different traditions in, but it inhibits then the organic flow of what's wanting to move. And so
mm,
yeah, like you said, there's no words, there's no guidance. It's,
mm.
there's a little bit at the beginning to get people
Yes,
comfortable and to,
yes.
that's critical is that,
Mm,
you have to feel safe enough to let go.
mm,
And then the world is your oyster pretty much, it's a beautiful thing.
mm.
And so in that journey, I look at it as because you said that really well. It's like the sound then you feel like you're immersed in it, right? And it just
Yes.
carries you into different like windows of consciousness, I
Mm.
guess you would say, hey?
So beautiful.
And
Yes.
yeah, and it's like, and so what I've discovered is that the sound is the carrier. So the actual frequencies that we hear, the musicality of, the beautiful, like the
Mm,
gongs, behind me, the crystal bowls here, or, any instrument for that matter, including the voice. I think we discredit the voice a lot
mm.
because the voice in itself is actually more powerful a healing instrument than any of these beautiful
Yes.
instruments that I work with. But behind all of that, you've got first you need to infuse the sound with an awareness,
Mm,
like there's a presence that needs to be there in
mm.
the process, and from that presence and that awareness you can start to then articulate or conceive an intentionality.
Mm.
Where is this going to go? What is it that I'm wanting to? It's almost like, what radio station do I want to tune to, right?
Yes.
And it's
Yes.
like, if I want to hear that rock and roll,
Mm,
I'll go to this
mm.
frequency on the
Yeah.
radio dial. If I want to
Yeah.
hear easy listening, I'll go to
Mm,
that,
mm.
and nobody knows what the dials are anymore. Hey, it's like I'm dating myself, huh?
I know.
Who actually spends a dial on a
That's
radio?
that's the generational conversation we're having. I relate to that. Yeah.
You got it. Yeah, yeah, 100%. So from that, then awareness and intentionality can be then set upon the vibrations, the frequencies that we hear with our ears and feel with our body that then it's the vehicle.
Yes.
So
Yes.
um, I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like
It
that's
does.
that's kind of the best I can understand it. And the beauty about
Mm,
sound in itself is, I mean, there's there's so many different angles to
mm,
take it, is that you know, we identify sound with the pressure waves that we hear with our ears, right?
mm.
And if you stay in that realm, you're pretty locked in, and you actually are discrediting a large portion of those pressure waves because, you know, dogs can hear higher than us. There's many animals that can
True.
communicate
True.
and hear
Mm,
on the infrasound
mm,
and, you know, higher sounds than we can. And
true.
so it's like there's already a larger spectrum than what we're
Mm.
identifying with, if that makes sense. And then
It
if you
does.
take, right?